Well, in just a moment, you're going to meet my special guest. But before you do, we've got a short intro clip that'll help introduce our special guest, Julie, to you. Just watch this.
In our teens, we dated a long time trying to be as faithful to God as possible with not becoming intimate together. So I was not on birth control. We just never expected, that would happen. Anyways, we fell into temptation and I ended up becoming pregnant out of wedlock. And I was such an evangelical Christian, so for everybody to hear, oh my gosh, Julie Johnson is, Julie Minion at the time is pregnant. And so anyways, it was a lot to deal with, but through that, God never left me. He continued to love me and bless me, and He took that situation of shame and of embarrassment, and He blessed me with the most beautiful baby I could ever imagine. God does not abandon us through our sin, through our anything. He loves us and He wants the best for us, and He can take any situation and make it good.
Julie Johnson of Vine Images, award-winning photographer. Julie, welcome to It's Your Call.
Thank you.
I'm so delighted that you're here with us. And photography, I think of one word, and it starts with a V, vanity. Any vanity being an award-winning photographer?
Oh my goodness.
You can be honest.
Any vanity being no, I try to stay humble.
Well, do you want me to tell you the truth, folks? Just before we started, Julie was sort of nervous about making sure that everything looked proper and in place. There's no shine because she's a photographer. She looks at everything from a totally different angle. But the point is, because you're like that, that's why you're an award-winning photographer. I mean, people seek Julie all over to do some incredible pictures for their babies, for weddings, engagements, pets, all kinds of things. And God has incredibly gifted you with what you do. And we're going to be talking about something that's unique in your testimony, and that's this whole question or comment, or I guess maybe a revelation of God's unexpected love.
As a teen, I experienced God, and I experienced His unexpected love. And then having my own children, I experienced another unexpected love.
Okay.
For my babies.
Well, you know what? We do have some pictures, and we're going to bring them up on the screen. And Julie, why don't you just take us through these pictures that you're going to see that just help explain your photography. So if we can have those pictures up, Jeff, that would be great. And just take them through one by one, Julie. Well, there we go. Okay,
so this is my second-born daughter. This is Madison. I just wanted to introduce my family to you. She is now 10 years old, turning 11.
Wow.
Yeah. And this is my husband, Norman. Never thought I'd marry a Norman.
Yeah, I know. I heard about the name.
Yeah. This is my daughter, Jessica. She's my oldest. She's now 12. That's me. You can forward that one. There's the vanity. And this is my son, Jacob, who's going to be 10 in January. And this is one of my most recent photos. So I just took this the other day, and I love it. It's one of my favorite photos.
So cute.
It is so cute. It took a lot of time and a lot of patience posing the baby.
Yeah.
But it was well worth it. This is another photo. It just reminds me that God knows everything about us. And just as we know everything about our baby, and they have no idea, the baby has no idea how much the parents know about them and know them and love them and adore them. And that's the same thing with us and God.
Wow.
It's just a little baby boy.
Wow.
So we're just going to take you through a bunch of newborn photos. I thought this was a pretty neat picture.
Is that the father?
That is the father with the baby. And this one is very cool.
Wow.
Yeah, so I do a lot of newborns.
Now, how do you actually get the babies to keep themselves in that position? I mean, is that a lot of work?
It is. We have, I have an assistant that works with me a lot. Her name is Ingrid, and she helps me pose the babies, and we like to keep them warm. So in every shot, what you don't see is a blow dryer blowing on all these babies, like warm air that that they just love, and it keeps them warm and content and happy.
Wow.
I love this shot too.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah. So the one thing that, with the unexpected love that I experienced for my own children, I always ask parents that come in, you know, what do you think of the love? And they're like, I had no idea. You know, some of them are like, I thought I loved my spouse, you know, and then my baby came, and it's amazing, amazing love.
Wow.
And they're so beautiful. Like I just feel God's creation, you know, people are so beautiful. And so precious. Like you can see God's personality, you know, like he loves laughter. He loves love. He loves people loving each other.
And everyone is so unique.
Yes, everyone is so unique. Even a newborn baby, you know, like some people say they all look the same. No, they don't.
Yeah.
I have had hundreds and hundreds of newborn babies, and I can tell you no two are the same. Everybody's given a unique fingerprint, unique face, eyes, ears, everything.
Wow.
We're all different. What I find fascinating too is how everybody has a different voice and a different cry, because God knows and hears our voices. And so that's how he can differentiate us, right? If we all had the same voice, the world wouldn't really work, would it?
Absolutely. That's amazing.
It is.
That's amazing. You know, those are great shots.
Thank you.
It's so, I mean, it's incredible showing God's handiwork and God's grace. And when you talk about the little children, I mean, let's talk about your story and your testimony and in your own personal life. I mean, if we're going back to the very beginning, when you were 5 years of age, something happened.
Yeah,
and talk to us about it.
Yeah, when I was 5 years old, tragedy struck our home, and my father confessed to my mother that he had fallen in love with another woman, and he left. He left us. So I remember clearly the day that he left, packing boxes in the car and running up the stairs and seeing my mother crying on the base of her bed. And I have two sisters, and we tried our best to comfort her. And we didn't know what was happening, and we were like, Mom, you know, what's going on? And she said, your dad has left us, and I'm not sure if he's coming back.
Wow.
And it was pretty hard, like, you know.
Being 5, did you understand actually what was going on?
Well, you know, I've spoken to my sisters about it, and my older sister would cry every night. She cried herself to sleep.
Really?
And I remember, I don't remember that much, but I remember my report card. I recently found it from that grade, so grade 1, and I had all C's. Like it was really bad.
Yeah.
And so it affected me more than what I was a bright kid.
Yeah.
You know, but to have marks like that in grade 1, you know?
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
So Dad just confessed, and then he left that day. He was gone.
He left, and I think, you know, I've heard stories like they did try to, you know, to work it out. I don't know the whole thing, but you know, so my parents ended up remarrying, and they both married like single people that had no children. Yeah. So they both ended up having more children with their new spouses. So they had new families.
I see.
So out of it, I'm blessed with another sister and a brother and another brother.
Now, when your dad left at 5, when did they remarry? How old were you and your parents remarried?
About 9, like 9 to 11.
Okay, so about another 5 years. Now, just going back, what was it like from 5 to 11, like growing up without having a father in your home? I mean, do you remember that? Did it bother you? Obviously it must have. Yeah,
like you know, it's hard. My mom did a very good job at keeping us busy, putting us in activities, and you know, every night was something different. So one thing she did was put us in Pioneer Girls, which is a Christian program for young girls, and my kids are in it right now. And it was a free program through Brant Bible Church. And so we went. And so I don't know if at that time that a seed was planted in my heart. And, you know, so she did what she could. We were in synchronized swimming, skiing, everything she did for us. And then we'd see our dad every second weekend.
Okay, now when your parents remarried then, I mean, what was going on with Julie when that happened? I mean, were you happy? Were you sad? Were you angry? Like what sort of emotions were you going through?
I think it's when I started becoming a teen that I started thinking about, okay, what is happening here, and why did my dad leave? And I started thinking more about the situation. When you're young, you don't think about that stuff, you know? So then as a teen, you think you know it all, and I became very rebellious and angry about it. And
Okay.
why me? And I'm the victim. And
Yeah.
why did our family fall apart? And
Yeah.
why don't I have my dad with me? And we'd have our stepfather and be like, "You're not my dad. You can't tell me what to do." And so our house was flipped
Really?
upside down.
So
Yeah.
you actually, I mean, that you were saying that to your stepdad?
Oh yeah, we were not very nice.
Very cruel.
Very cruel, and to my stepmom as well.
Wow.
It's hard.
Now, how did you, did your mom take you to Sunday school, or there was no God as part of your family at that time?
We were raised Catholic, but we would only go on holidays.
Okay.
And just when my grandma came down, who was
Okay.
very strict Catholic, and we were more raised that, it was just not, you couldn't, it's not a personal God.
Right.
I remember going to church with my grandma.
Okay.
And I said, how much longer, Grandma? Because they
Yeah.
didn't have a children's
Yeah.
program or anything.
Yeah.
And she's like, you get to spend an hour with God a week.
Oh.
And,
Yeah.
and you're complaining about it.
Yeah.
And to her, that's what it was, an hour a week,
Oh, I
right?
see.
It wasn't all day, every day.
Yeah.
Like you could have it, right?
Wow. I gotcha.
So, yeah.
Interesting. So then into your teen years, the hurt, the anger, how did it manifest? I mean, did you bury it, or?
I never learned that there was a God that I could turn to, and so I turned to drugs, and I turned to alcohol, and I turned to my friends, and my family became nothing.
Okay.
So I put everything into the social.
Okay. Now, were you trying to, run from your family, or is it just you couldn't handle that? So, you're moving out of that to chase something, hoping to find some kind of fulfillment, something that was empty inside of you?
Oh yeah, like I was trying to fill a void, like all the hurt and
Right.
the anger, and I didn't even really learn about forgiveness and what it means to forgive. And so I just had all this anger built inside me and very selfish.
Okay.
So, I recently learned about selfishness and pride and how it's a defense mechanism from when we're little.
Okay.
And when we're hurt, we try to build ourselves up, and
Yeah.
so I built myself up, and I became very mean to people, and even like kids at school. Like I was not a nice person.
Really?
It's awful.
I can't believe that.
Oh, it's so
My.
bad.
And that's just because of the anger, the resentment, the hatred, what happened to your family. Did you ever think in school, and going back then, and I'm not going to reveal your age, but going back then, broken families that, you'd see a mom and a dad, and yet your mom and dad wasn't like that? Did that ever bother you?
Oh yeah, sure. Like yeah, you'd always think like, why aren't my parents together, or why, like, and it's the whole me, right?
Yeah.
Like why do all these things happen to me? And so yeah, like I would look at my friends with their parents still together. Like back then, divorce wasn't like it is now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not good.
Yeah. Well,